Hello, hello. Sorry for the delay. Don't know how many people are going to show up. It's a Saturday night once again. I actually had a bit of a, mini crisis. It wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, I say it's not that big of a deal. Um, because in the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge deal. But that being said, I had a client that I just delivered a video to over Dropbox, and she sent it out to some of the people in her dance company, and they started watching it over Dropbox. And Dropbox was saying they got too many traffic because I guess they're not like a YouTube or an Instagram, so they're not a social media thing. So they shut down the link, and now they're having problems opening anything up. So that was what I was dealing with. I'm still kind of dealing with it, but that's just for me to explain why I am slightly late. But I apologize. I will probably have to apologize multiple times within this live stream. If you're here, hit that like button. Get this out to more people so we can get this thing started. Let people be rolling in here. If you have any comments or questions or just want to hang out, then yeah, let's do that too. Can you hear me? Is my audio good? Let's see here. Sometimes. All right. What is going on? How is the delay? If there is a delay, if you could comment and let me know kind of how the delay is. Your audio is fine, so it's not that big of a delay. Hey, Dan, what's going on, man? Dan the man. Sorry, I'm sure you've gotten that a lot of times. I apologize for the low-hanging fruit there. So, like I said, for people who have not heard or did not hear me talk about it before, there was a slight issue with a client that I'm working with, and she was having trouble opening everything over Dropbox. So I've been trying to deal with her, or not deal with her, but help her out. And I was just texting her right before I started this live stream. So letting you know why the issue. So mainly I want to talk about, obviously these are open talks and conversations. So definitely let's feel free to enjoy and interject and ask anything you would like. One of the main topics I want to talk about, of course, is the Fujifilm X-H2 and this weird fan solution that they've came up with. I hope the best for it, but there's always kind of been a worry that this thing was possibly going to have some overheating issues because of just how small it was and some of the capabilities that supposedly it will have, like 6K, I've been at 6K 60 and 4K 120. So that's kind of been an issue. Because I was wondering, because it's so small and the XD4 already overheated. And so I was like, what's the heating situation going to be like? And now Fuji Rumors is showing that there's some weird accessory fan that goes with it. I think it's kind of an odd accessory, but I want to get everybody's opinion on it and see what the general consensus is, if this is a good or bad thing. Sorry, I'm checking my clients. They're texting me still, but I'm also checking the audio from my own account. Cool. So if you're here and you hadn't hit the like button, do that. If you're here and you want to conversate, we can do that as well. We're going to let people kind of roll in. Last Saturday, or not last Saturday, but the last Saturday that we did a live stream, we actually had some pretty good results on a Saturday night. I was shocked. So I just thought we'd try it again because Saturday night seemed to work the best. And let's hope that some people, I know Jason was on from Australia. We had some people join from there. And just in general, I was surprised on a Saturday night that people were excited to jump on and talk cameras. But I'm excited to jump on and talk cameras. So I'm here for everybody. Let me go ahead and screen share really quick. So I don't know why we have a bikini ad on here. This is completely irrelevant. Just kidding. So this is the big issue right here. This weird external fan. Says good or bad vote. So I voted down here. It seems like the Fuji um, community overall is saying that it's okay. I went with a built-in fan solution. But let's see what the poll. It says I've already voted. Well, can I see the results? Last time I checked, it was about 65 to 35% with people saying that this was a good solution. But we had to remember this is FujiRumors.com. So essentially, we're going to be having, kind of a slighted group here saying whether or not this is a good idea because, these are all Fujifilm fans. So you're going to have big fans saying, hey, this is a good idea. So the fact that it's 35% saying this isn't a good idea, to me, does not bode well. Okay. It says the X-H2 will record videos also without this accessory. It's not that you press record button and the camera will instantly overheat. If you do a mix of photos and not too long of videos, you don't have to attach the cooling fan to the camera. So just right here, this is a little odd. I mean, this is essentially what the R5 was got so much flack for. If this is what they were thinking, because if you shot in short bursts with the R5, especially after all those updates and the different firmware stuff, then overall the R5 was a great video camera, even without the fan of the R5C. So you could shoot short bursts and all that kind of stuff. It's just, it wasn't a long-term solution, or it wasn't a good solution. So in my mind, so I think they should get the similar flack. I'm excited for this camera, but it's a problem. What are you guys thinking? Drop in the chat and let me know. Okay. Dan says, if Fuji Rumors is correct, then the fan add-on will probably be a deal breaker and I'll give up on Fujifilm. It would be one thing if overheating was fixed with a add-on grip. I don't want to carry around a fan to do video over 10 minutes or whatever the hell. Oh, sorry. I added the hell. I've just processed my own anger. Sorry. I don't want to carry around a fan to do video over 10 minutes or whatever the limit will be. I tend to agree with you. I'm not going to go as far as saying it's a full-on deal breaker for me, just depending on still what the capabilities of this camera is. But I do find it odd that if this is the S variant, which is seemingly still more the video-centric side, then if this is the video-centric version, why did you not add a fan? So it's a little odd that they did not add a fan to me. And the other situation is what's going to be the deal with whatever this other variant of the X-H2 going to be, the 8K version. If they're overheating with this 6K version, is anybody going to trust the 8K version? I mean, it's obviously going to overheat too, unless we add a fan or we have this accessory fan, which is it's just an odd choice. I'm wondering if Fuji Rumors is incorrect about this secondary X-H2 camera, and I wonder if it is going to be like there was an insider supposedly who commented on my channel saying that it's going to be called the X-H5. So I'm wondering if this secondary camera is going to be somewhat of a new line for them, something that sits above the X-H2S or whatever it's going to be called, and say maybe it's going to be a bigger body. I hope so, because if you're going to put 8K in it, it better be a bigger body. Okay, John said, hey, Matt. Well, hey, John. I'm glad you're here. Y'all got some good, I'm from the South. Canon fans got some really big news with the Canon R7. What is your thoughts on that, John? I know we kind of commented back and forth. I'm wondering if we can get Long Rider to buy a Canon R7. Probably not. If you're here and you hadn't hit that like button and you want to chat and get this out to more people, then let's get this out to more people. So hit that like button. What is your thoughts on this Fujifilm fan debacle. Do you think it is going to be as big of an issue as it looks like it's going to be? To me, if they're showing this fan accessory, then they have substantial overheating issues. It just seems. Now, I know Fuji Rumors is saying, oh, I can kind of continue with what they were saying. Okay, so Fuji Rumors, y'all see this? Okay, Fuji Rumors said, right here, the cooling accessory is probably more something for when you plan to make longer continuous videos and interview, etc., and make sure you don't occur any overheating issues. This accessory is not like the improvised suboptimal third-party tilted solution for Canon R5. So the backside of the accessory will not expose the fan, and it will also be slimmer and more efficient. I guess. I mean, it seems very similar to the tilted solution to me, because it's still a fan that's going to make you turn out that screen, and that sucks. So if it really is that, let's say that this camera doesn't really have much overheating issues. Say it's like the Sony A7S III, that it can overheat technically, but it very rarely to never overheats. So if that is the case, then that might not be a bad solution. But if it is the case that this thing has substantial overheating issues like the R5, and this accessory is the only thing that's going to make it viable, then I don't think this is a good idea. I think it's a terrible idea. And I'm disappointed because I thought that the Fujifilm X-H2, I'm a huge fan of Fuji. I want them to have great success. And so I just really hope that this is like he's saying, that if you are really going to do like super long form and this is just a just in case solution. But if it's a fairly, this needs to happen in order to have a good camera, I think that is not a good camera, but a decent video camera. Disappointing, to say the least. Obviously, we're going to have to wait for final verdict when the camera actually comes out. Okay, so John says, if the R7 pans out per the leaks, I'm definitely interested. Fangate seems ridiculous. I agree. They'd be better off with a redesign to include an inboard fan. I also agree. The R7, I think smartly at this point. I'm a more video-centric person, but the R7 looks like they're really going after photographers. I know some people have some worries that they're maybe reusing a sensor, and that might be possible. But I think, the proof will be in the software situation, and we will see what they can do with software and how fast the Digic X processor, which I assume it's going to be, how fast does it read out on that sensor. I think it's still possible. Like, people were worried about a stacked in BSI, or not BSI. BSI is for more low light, but a stacked sensor is more for a faster readout speed. And so people are worried that it's going to have a lot of rolling shutter if it doesn't have a stacked sensor. And I mean, theoretically, that's possible, but I don't necessarily see that as a likely issue, because the A7S III, it doesn't have hardly, it's very minimal rolling shutter. The Canon EOS R7, no stacked sensor, extremely minimal rolling shutter. This will be higher megapixel, but it's also going to be APS-C sensor, so I think it's not going to be pushing any more data, if any. I think if they can make it work, and this is a fairly decent sensor overall, which I've heard it's a pretty good sensor overall, even if it's aged. But if they can get that readout speed going with the processing power, then I think that's not a bad thing. Dan says the big issue with 4K 60 and 4K 120 doing even reportedly more moderately short clips, you can get overheating the Sony A1 and 4K 120. I've never had an issue with this A7S III. I'm not really worried about 4K 120. I think 4K 120 is fine in short bursts. I don't think you really need anything more than a short burst. 4K 60, on the other hand, I know a lot of people are really wanting to adopt 4K 60 for their A-roll. And I don't personally do that. I'm 24 frames per second, so I'm essentially shooting 4K 60 in fairly short bursts as well. Never had an overheating issue whatsoever on the A7S III. And I think most people at 4K 60 don't have that. I mean, if you're in an environment with the sun beating down on it, you're going to have some overheating issues. That's obvious. But yeah. I wonder what John. Oh, and then what's going to happen with the 6K if it really does 6K 30? That's a lot of data too, or 6K 60, which is what I think it would be. That's definitely could have some overheating. What happens if it's downsampled from the full width sensor, or if it's 20 something megapixels, would be a little over 6K downsampled to 4K. So what just happens if it's the 4K 30 running that? I don't know. All these questions. John says, I wonder what the world's angriest Fujifilm has to say about the XH. Is it angriest? Yeah, I think that's what you're saying. Fujifilm has to say about the X-H2S. Is that a YouTube channel, or are you just kind of generalizing? Dan said, so the fan will be needed constantly on the H2S, and I don't know, from Fuji rumors, they're kind of slightly vague about it. I don't know if they 100% know what this will be used for or needed for. If it is a case where this is literally like you want it to act as a somewhat cinema light camera. Say you want the or let's say you want the Fujifilm X-H2 to perform like the A7 R5C or the FX3, and you need that fan to make it perform super long term. If that is the case, okay. But if this is a situation like the R5 where overall it's going to overheat very fast without this fan, I think that is a big issue. And the fact that they're including it already makes me think this is kind of it's kind of a safe face situation that poor design. I hope that's not the case, but it makes me think that. TJ Bronx said, "What's up, Matt? What's up, TJ? What is going on?" Glad you're here. If you're here and you're watching, there's 6 of you so far, which is great. I'm fine with 6. I don't mind at all. But if we want to get this out to more people and get more of a conversation going with differing opinions, let's hit that like button and get this out to more people. Sorry if I keep harping on that, but it's kind of part of the game here with the YouTube algorithm gods. John says, who needs long clips in 4K 120? I used it in Arizona heat last week. With no problem. R5, but only for less than a minute per clip. Yes, I'm referring to an angry photographer of geek descent. So I've never seen that. I might have seen that channel, but I'm not familiar off the top of my head. You see a lot of people, but that'd be interesting to see see his take. If he is kind of has like that persona of being somebody that's upset already, then I can see that that take being not so great. Let's go over here and we'll pull back up some of the Fuji stuff as well. Let's see if there's what they have to say more so. And then we can also go over to talk more about the R7 and the R10. Go back to screen share. Okay, so it says the DNA of the XH line is the letter H, which stands for hybrid. Okay, But if this is the S solution, then this sounds like it's more the video-centric kind. And then what happens with 8K in your other one? It needs to be a bigger body, hopefully. That's what she said. Nah, it doesn't work that great. I wish she said that because I'm a pretty big guy. Never mind. Okay. X-H2S active cooling accessory additional details better than Canon R5 Tilta. High bar. Sorry. We shared the rumor that external fan that Fujifilm will offer better than Tilta. Great. The other thing is this flip screen. I don't want the flip screen to have to be turned out. I get that that's part of heat management in general, but I don't want that to have to be turned out all the time. I don't want to have to carry a fan around that I'm going to have to rig up all the time. So, yeah. Okay. Is this like, is this sarcastic? Like, brilliant? Brilliant! They've got the best solution ever. You put a fan on it externally. Sorry. That's quite some impressive specs, right? And such features definitely generate a lot of heat. Yeah, no shit. So much so that other cameras offering similar specs, do have a built-in fan. For example, the Panasonic GH6 with a smaller sensor. Panasonic S1H with a way bigger sensor. The Canon EOS R5C and Sony FX3. Yeah, again, if it's like the FX3 situation where the Sony A7S III very rarely overheats, but if you want to put it in a very professional environment and you want to never have that problem, essentially, I'm kind of more down with that. So how is that possible that the Fujifilm X-H2S won't have a built-in cooling system as we first rumored here? And later we also saw the leaked images here. Guess I've read in the comments that Fujifilm would improve some sort of cooling built into the expensive battery belt. In fact, that's wrong. We offered a dedicated active cooling accessory. You attach to the back of, meaning you will flip out the LCD. That sucks. Mount it to the back of the camera and then active cooling will be performed. Smart, isn't it? Not so much. I mean, if you buy the Fujifilm X-H2 predominantly for shooting stills, you wouldn't care less about active cooling. Okay. So why did the R5 get such flack? The Fujifilm won't force you to buy a bigger, heavier, and more expensive camera with big protruding fan. Oh gosh, this is propaganda 101 here. Why don't you just get punched in the face and say you had love hits? Anyway, sorry, I don't mean to be like overly dramatic, but yeah. Okay, so let's go back to the chat. Okay, TJ Bronx. This is a different opinion. I appreciate it. I personally don't understand the pushback with the X-H2S fan news. I wish Canon had some kind of mitigation for the R5 heat issues. That's one take, I guess. But they kind of do with the R5C. And the other thing is they kind of do with the third-party solution, even if you say it's not as good because the fan that you can actually hit your fingers. But I don't know. I kind of see your point, TJ, but at the same time, it's like better engineering would make this not as much of an issue. So fingers crossed that this is slightly a not as big of an issue as we hope it, or we always hope for the best. I want Fuji to be a very successful, great company that lasts for a long time, which I think that they will be. And I want this flagship to really bring people over to Fujifilm and make it more of a household name. I mean, it's a big name, but it's not. Come on, it's not Canon, Sony, or Nikon. Even if it's selling better than Nikon, the name brand is not Nikon. Okay, so we have 8 people here watching. Very much appreciate it. If you're watching and you can't contribute to the chat, that's completely fine. But if you can, that would be great. If you're here and you want to get this conversation moving even more so, then let's get the likes going so we can bring this out to more people, because I always appreciate differing opinion, and we can all have different opinions and enjoy each other's conversation and different opinions in a civil manner, or we can just yell about it. I don't care. TJ says, I absolutely agree with the engineering take. Well, I appreciate it. You don't have to agree, but I'm glad that I'm glad that you understand that take as well. Okay. Do y'all want to get into R5 stuff, or do you want to continue with this? Do you guys have more takes on the X-H2S, or do you think it's kind of been beat up already and there's not much more to say? Or do you have different opinions? I know there's a lot of interest in this X-H2, which is great. And I just because I know so, because my channel, which isn't huge relatively, I'm happy with the subscribers I do have. I'm grateful for the community I do have, but I'm definitely not considered a big dog channel. My X-H2S video has outperformed a lot of videos. It's really taken off. It's even outperforming the R7 videos right now, which are also doing very well for my relatively small channel. So that being said, there is a lot of passionate Fujifilm fans that really want this to be a big deal or a great camera. I do too. Let's hope for the best. But sounds a little sketchy. We will see May 31st, or when he gets in the hands of reviewers and testers. What's the guy's name who I really like his his take? He's a British guy. He always goes out in the field with everything. He's really good about. I mean, he's not like Gerald Undone testing, but he's usually more like in the field testing. Why can't I think of his name? He's a big guy out there. Not DP reviews; they're great too, but he seems to be doing a little bit more. Gordon Lang, yes, that's him. I'm a big fan of Gordon. I think he's a very straight shooter, and a very approachable when it comes to channels goes. When it comes to information. He kind of gives you a practical sense too, of like, I didn't have an issue with it. I'm sorry, that's a terrible accent, but terrible impersonation. But he's very good, I think. Go subscribe to his channel. I'm just kidding. He doesn't need my promotion. I'm sure everybody who watches my channel has seen him. That's funny. Yeah, so do y'all want to move on to a different topic, say the R7, or do we want to continue beating up on Fujifilm, or at least giving our opinion about it? Oh gosh, can y'all see this? I was working. It's weird because everything's opposite. I was working out in the sun. I was sealing a deck outside, and geez, I burned the heck out of myself because I just got this new haircut. Let's move on, John. John is the definitive person. You guys think this is the channel that I run, but John is the man behind the scenes. Like, he tells me to do something, that's it. I'm doing it. I do agree. We do need to move on, even if we come back and circle around to it. Let's move on for now. Canon rumors. It's like this guy planned it. He had things opened up. Okay. So let's go quickly down here and go over these R7 specs. Most of us have already kind of talked about it, maybe seen the video. But here we go. Coming from Canon Rumors, the R7 specifications, CR3, meaning they believe it to be fairly factual. I mean, they call it fact, but no one actually knows 100%. They word this odd in my mind. It says 32.5 APS-C dual pixel CMOS AF. This should be broken up, shouldn't it? Dual pixel AF to me should be under, and CMOS should be here. Maybe I'm wrong, But by them saying CMOS, does this rule out the BSI stacked situation? Because isn't CMOS essentially not a stacked camera by nature, or can it be both? That would be nice to answer. It says 15 to 30 frames per second mechanical / electronic. Nuts. Great fast performance. The biggest issue for certain people, like Long Rider, had an issue saying that if it's not a BSI or not a stack sensor, then you'll get rolling shutter. And so you'll need to go to mechanical, which cuts it down to 15 frames per second. And for somebody like him who shoots 10,000 pictures a month, which is nuts, it's great that he's so dedicated to his craft. But if you're somebody like him, the mechanical shutter may not have a long shelf life. So I kind of understand his point, but I don't necessarily agree with the premise saying that the electronic shutter will automatically have rolling shutter just if it's not BSI, because I think that if it's a fast enough processor and with software, you may be able to mitigate that like they do on the R6 and Sony does on the A7S III. Okay. It says we'll have 2 USHS 2 cards. Fine. That's good. I think that's plenty for this camera. 4K 60. Okay. Not great. Not bad. Not great. I'm sure that's 10-bit. I don't think that they're putting anything besides 10-bit in these cameras at this point, especially considering they have C-Log 3. I'd be shocked if this was not 10-bit. It says a 1080p at 120. Again, okay, not great. In-body image stabilization. This I'm pretty excited about because I wonder with that smaller sensor if they're going to be able to move it around even more so with the RF mount, which is already a very good size mount. So it'd be interesting to see what their IBIS looks like. That'd be great if it's something even more impressive than the R5. If it's somewhere akin to like a Olympus or a Panasonic, that would be incredible. Announcement June to July 2022. This may be wrong. So let's go up here. This is the announcement supposedly now. It is going to be, and be firing away your chat questions and stuff so we can it can kind of have a build up as I go over this thing. It says products announced, new products this month, which is a pleasant surprise, and they believe it will be May 24th. So I don't know why that is. There might already be some kind of a thing on the schedule for May 24th. That's why he's saying that. Supposedly coming is a couple of RFS lenses. I think this is definitely not a new mount. I don't believe that at all. I just believe these are lenses kind of like the Sony situation. It'll be great if they have an accessory that allows you to use EFS lenses on this camera. That would be great. I think that would be a smart idea, and maybe they'll do it. I know that with the RF system, they've had great accessories for bringing your EF lenses over. So yeah, they say you will be getting the Canon EOS R7. Big deal. They say big deal like I'm not being facetious here. They say you will have the EOS R10, which is another big deal in my mind. Maybe not as exciting for some of you with the R7, or not as exciting as the R7 for some of you. But for the general public, it will be some big stuff. You will also get the RF S 18 to 45 at 3.5 to 5.6, and the Canon RFS 18 to 150, 3.5 to 6.3. I wonder where the cutoff will be with the 5.6, or how fast will it go up there? So will it be 5.6 up to like 70? And which of these will be more considered the kit? I don't know. I'm thinking that this would be a more expensive one just because the focal length. But I know a lot of times, like an 18 to 150, sometimes they're more kit friendly. What do you guys think of these lenses? Do you think these are good lenses to go out with? Or do you think that they maybe should have had this lens and maybe a little bit wider of a lens here, because there's a lot of overlap here. Maybe one of these will be substantially cheaper than the other. So what is your take? Which one? I'm guessing this will be the more expensive, better lens. We'll see. Let's go back to the chat, see what we got going here, and then we'll talk about the R6 if y'all would like to do that as well. Okay. Oh, we got some good stuff going on. TJ says the R3 is a BSI and stacked CMOS sensor. Okay, good to know. I wasn't sure. The R5 does have rolling shutter, even though I don't use electronic shutter for birding anymore. 15 frames per second is fast AF. Fast as, okay. Okay, got it. It sounds like autofocus, but it's not autofocus. And I don't shoot birds as much as long riders, so I'm intrigued. Yes, the R5 does have rolling shutter. According to Long Rider, though, the reason it has a rolling shutter is it is quite a bit slower of a sensor readout than the R6. So if this has a more sensor that's similar more to the R6, I think we still might have a very limited rolling shutter. And according to TJ, this doesn't necessarily, the lack of information doesn't mean that the information isn't there, or that the spec isn't there, because we've heard for a long time that it was BSI. So maybe, just maybe, they don't have the information to confirm it is, so they just say CMOS sensor. That is the best case scenario in my mind. John, would you trade out the R5 for the R7? Let's see what John has to say. I'm going to say no. Personally, I think he might just get this as an additional camera. Okay. John is kind of confirming what TJ said. I just looked up CMOS. It means complementary metal oxide semiconductor. No reason it can't be stacked or backside illuminated too. TJ said, or John replied, the R5, no. The R6, maybe. So you would trade the R5. Wait. You would trade the R6. So you have an R6 too? I didn't know this. So sorry for, maybe you've told me, but sometimes it's hard to keep all the information in one's brain. So you said the R6 you may trade out for it. So if you have an R6, you might trade it, or you will get this instead of the R6. You guys are, I'm glad you guys are in the financial situation you're in. Y'all obviously worked hard for your success. That's a good thing, but I sit here and I think, damn, I wish I could have multiple cameras like that. I mean, I kind of do, but not to the extent of some of you, which is a good thing, because I wouldn't have a camera news channel if people could not afford cameras. That's a thing. Good. I'm glad to know this information about the CMOS. So let's just hope that it still could be BSI sensor. We heard about a BSI sensor a long time ago in this range. So unless they really did just have such supply chain issues that they could not deliver it, it sounds like it was being produced a long time ago. So let's just hope that it still is BSI and stacked. BSI will help. I believe BSI mostly helps with low light, maybe dynamic range, but I don't know if that's 100% a thing. I know it's low light. I mean, if it helps in low light, I would assume that you will have a better color representation in lower light, so that might help with dynamic range overall as well. Not sure. But stacked will help with rolling shutter, which will be very important for birders, wildlife photographers. If you're here and you would like to, and you appreciate this channel, hit that like button. Get this out to more people. I definitely appreciate you all. If you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? No, seriously. If you could help me, I definitely think I definitely appreciate it. I'm trying to build this thing. I want this to be a career for myself, and I hope to bring. I hope I bring value to the community, and you guys will help me build it up. I know a lot of you are subscribed, which I appreciate too. Sorry for the plugging of myself, but it is what it is. I have to build this thing out where I'm at right now with it. I've been working on it very consistently for 2 years, and I would like to see it grow. So my wife will stop bucking me. No, I'm just kidding. Kind of. Okay. John said, "Yes, Matt, I have the R5, an R5 and an R6. Big roller. Uh, the R5 is my main stills and backup vid cam. The R6 is my main video and backup stills body. Wait. Okay, got it. Okay, so yeah. I'm blessed. I'm also old. I had nothing at your age. Well, I appreciate it. I think, but I am glad that you are blessed, John. You seem like the person who deserves it. I always appreciate you. You seem like you have a kind spirit about yourself and charisma for days. I truly mean that. From what I've seen of your stuff. TJ says the 18 to 45 I think will be a crop sensor lens. Yes, it will. That's what they're saying at least. Uh, Lens, so it will be a 24 to 70 full frame equivalent. The 18 to 150 will be an all-purpose lens. So these are great starting points for RF crop lenses. But with the f-stop as it is sits, to me, I would think that if at the high end, if at the high end it goes to 6.3 and the other goes to 5.6, to me, then I wouldn't be surprised if the 5.6 lasted to that 45 or even more so. So if that's the case, then I think the 18 to 50 would be the best bet. But obviously, we're not going to know until we get this out to more people or get this in our hands or in people's hands. I will say this, a public service announcement. If you're even remotely interested in this camera and you think the R7, and you think that this will be a camera that you want and you are financially ready to buy it fairly right away, just pre-order it. You can always cancel a pre-order, get your money back. Not always, but in most stores, I'm sure. I know like B&H, you can do that. So go ahead and pre-order it. Get this thing ready to go, because if you want this thing anytime soon, it's probably going to be very, very hard to get. I would pre-order it before you even watch any reviews. I would go and as soon as it's announced, be ready at B&H and get that thing pre-ordered, and then watch the reviews. And if they suck, then cancel that pre-order. My thoughts. If you want this camera right away and can afford it, or can afford it, but you want to stretch yourself, go for it. It's your money. TJ says, true, but the 18 to 45 is a kit lens. No. Yeah, so maybe you're right on that. TJ Bronx said, I agree. These are good focal lengths for newbies in the RF system. I see the R10 buyers getting them more likely than the more high-end R7 market. I have no interest in either lens. Yeah, I mean, if you can use your other R7 lenses on it and you just crop in, that's adequate in my mind. You won't necessarily get lighter weight, but that being said, you get more reach. So pros and cons. And I think at least this shows an interest in Canon to start filling out their RFS lenses, or at least that they're going to be offering them. So that's a good thing. But agree or okay, is anybody planning on jumping on the R7 or kind of like what I was talking about? Are y'all like ready to buy it? Do y'all agree with my assessment that you need to pre-order it right away if you want this camera, and so you can always cancel it? That's my mind. That's my thinking. TJ says, I'm not interested in the R7 or the R10. I'm waiting for a compact, lightweight RF body like the M50. Is the R10 kind of going to be that camera? Because it's the entry point camera. So I don't know. I'm not saying it will or will not. The specs still seem pretty impressive. Let's go see if we can read more about the R10. Why don't we? We're here. We have time. I hope. Hope y'all stick with me through this. I'm here to talk cameras. Let's talk cameras. Okay. So will become the entry-level RF mount with the APS-C image. I think it's safe to say that this camera is the likely successor to the EOS M50, NES M6 Mark II. The latter was recently discontinued by Canon. So they're not saying it's going to be the M50. I need to look more into these cameras. Oh, excuse me. I never really got into the M line. So maybe these are very different cameras than the M50. But if this is the entry level, then are these lower end cameras than the M50? Maybe help me out in the chat, or is it just a different market altogether? It says this will have 24.2 megapixels, respectable. 15 to 23 frames per second, very respectable. One USH card, whatever. And then HD RPQ, no C-Log according to them. And that makes me think that this may be back to 8-bit. That's possible. Let me see. Let's see here. Let me go look and see what these cameras are about here. Okay. I mean, that's pretty compact, man. It might not, or it looks compact, but I mean, these are just pictures. So maybe this is, okay. Let's see. Let's see what the, no, you can't send me notifications. I am a busy person. No, I'm not. Not really, but I don't want to be annoyed. Okay, so let's see what the specs are. Come on, Adorama. Okay, specs. Let's see how big this thing is. Too many jokes. Okay. Sorry for anything. 14. That's less than a pound, man. Is that? Let's check this. Okay. M50 Canon Mark II. Or is there a Mark II? Yeah, it's a Mark II. Okay, it's even more entry level, I assume. So maybe going after a different market. Dimensions. What's the weight? Man, very, very minimal difference. And you're looking at 14 ounces versus 12 ounces. So I honestly would not be disappointed if the R10 replaces this camera as well. And I mean, I say that. I guess it depends on the price point. What do y'all think? Do you think that there's a need for an M50 as well? Or a replacement to that? Or you think that the R10 could be suitable enough depending on the price? I don't think that size matters that much to me, but I'm not the person who wants that camera. So maybe I'm wrong. Those are always options that I am comfortable with saying. Yeah, I think it says the M5 on this. So is that wrong? Let me go over here back to Canon. So it says M5 and M6. It doesn't say the 90D. If I'm not mistaken, the 90D is because they say entry level here. The 90D is a little bit higher up there. I think it's like between that and the 7D. Am I not right? Am I wrong? So Canon 90D. So yeah, it's kind of that in between. So if this is the entry level, maybe they'll have a Canon R9 APS-C, and that will replace this, because I don't think or they're going to go with full frame on that too. I don't really know. It's kind of a confusing situation at this point. Or what the entry level will be, but this sounds like this is kind of like the mid tier camera, and the 7D was or the 7 whatever it was. I think that was the higher end APS-C. This was in between, and the M50 was lower. So I think that if that's entry level, that's more going after the Mark 6 and M5. Am I wrong? Hello, Mad Dog Adventures, back in the house. I always appreciate you, man. Mad Dog is a mad dog. Mad Dog. He is not even a huge camera guy. He's more of a venture guy, but he shows up and enjoys the videos, and I appreciate it. John says the Mark 6 M6 Mark II was at the high end of the FM line, but it was the M line, and then the D line was a little different. John says other rumors said that the R7 and R10 will be similar in size to the current RF bodies. They said that the R7 would be. I do not remember the R10 saying that they would be similar, so I could be wrong, but I think the R10, I'm guessing the R10 will be smaller. We'll see. The R7, I don't think it really much matters, because it's made for a different market. Make it bigger. With that mount, they probably have to be. The M bodies are tiny by comparison. Yeah, but I don't know if you want to. I always look at the cell phone market. It has to. The hard truth that people who are going to buy the M50, nothing wrong with that. But I don't know if they're going to get much more out of that camera than they can an iPhone or a higher end iPhone. I mean, maybe they can a little bit, but will they be able to for the next 2 or 3 years? I don't know. So is it worth putting all R&D into that and creating a new mount, or just keep that old mount and keep going with that? Ethan Fuller says 90D and M6 Mark II are essentially the same camera internally, at least. A lot of their cameras are the same internally. No offense. I'm not trying to discredit that, but the R5 and R6 are kind of the same internally, besides the sensor, and very different outcomes. TJ Bronx said, for me personally, I'm more interested in buying a small, compact travel camera. If you're doing that, I'm still a fan of this camera. I like it. It's the G7X. I mean, I get that's point and shoot, but it's awesome. I love the flip up screen too. It's way better for checking yourself and being narcissistic without people knowing about it. Okay, I appreciate that. TJ Bronx says, disagree, Matt. I had the M50 and it blows cell phone cameras out of the way. Cameras away, not out of the way. You may be right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I did not have the M50, and I agree that to a certain degree, any dedicated M50 or any dedicated lens camera will beat it, and it has a bigger sensor. But I guess my point of it was, how much longer will it beat that? And then also, if you think of like the vast majority of people, obviously you might get better results with an M50, and that's great. But for people who are going to buy an M50, like let's say that you might make up 30 or 25 to 30% of the people who can get more out of an M50 than a cell phone. But like the vast majority of people can't. Because you just got to think about the lower end cameras are they're having a bigger hit in just sales in general for the cell phone market, and that's a hard truth. And whether or not it's a very whether or not it is a rightful thing for it to do, it's just a practical thing. Mad Dog Adventure says M50 is a great little camera for what I need. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's not. I honestly have not used it, so maybe I'm just kind of talking without experience here. So you guys know more than I do. I guess I'm just looking at it from a whole. I think if you go back to 5 years and you look at cameras, I think and cell phone cameras, the progression of the cell phone camera as opposed to the traditional camera is just the trajectories off the chart. And I do think, especially like look at next year's one, if they really do get rid of the lightning port and go to USB-C, and which is rumored, and they have these 8K going to be in it. I mean, I'm not. Still, it's probably going to have its limitations, but where will it be in 2 or 3 years? And it takes a lot of money for R&D and to get something going. Right. So I'm glad you see that. I see your point from a business perspective. And at the end of the day, these companies are businesses. Whether I'm not saying they're not passionate about making their cameras, they absolutely are. And I'm not saying that as a fan we should relish the idea of them getting rid of it. But it might be a hard truth that people have to swallow. But the R6 or R10, maybe it could be the best of both worlds. Might be slightly more expensive, but it might be better and more practical for the vast majority of people. If you're here and you had not hit that like button, or if you happen to be non-subscriber, very much appreciate it. It's a big deal for get subscribers. I mean, it's not that it changes everything completely, but it definitely lends more credibility. It'll allow me to get more. Eventually, it'll allow me to get more products to test, and obviously helps me make this more of a full-time thing. So I appreciate it. If that is if you like this channel, if you don't, just hang out for the live stream. Appreciate you being here. TJ says, I see your point from a business perspective. The lower end cameras can't survive. I guess what I'm looking for is a smaller compact camera, not necessarily a low end camera, kind of like the R7C. Yeah. And then that means that the R10 may be your camera. So we'll see. 11 people are watching. Very much appreciate you all being here. It's weird. This Saturday time frame, Saturday night, which I thought was like, who's going to show up on a Saturday night besides me? But people are showing up. I appreciate you all. I'm glad you're here. I know this is a good time frame for some people who are in different other countries. I appreciate that. Where do y'all want to go from here? We got people watching. Let's you guys can dictate what's the next story. Excuse me. You want to talk about, or you just want to keep everything chatting and going back and forth? I'm good with that too. But if there's a particular story that I'm missing here, shoot one out. If you're like, have you heard about something? TJ Bronx says, I'll wait for more confirmation that the R10 is smaller camera before I pre-order. My only, you may be right. But I guess I'll say that you may see that right away in the announcement. And if you do, then go ahead and jump on it and pre-order it. Because it's like, I think $100 down, but you can cancel it. Because you may not get it unless you're fine with waiting. That's fine too. But if you really think you want this camera, like as soon as it ships, go ahead and pre-order it. Then watch the reviews and cancel it if it sounds like it sucks. That might be your best bet of getting it. I guess let you do what you want. But if you want it sooner rather than later, maybe try that approach. John Dunham, I agree with TJ Bronx. The camera market is becoming, you always put these words in there. I bet it did it before. Bifurcated. low end relegated to smartphone real cameras at 1500 and up. Nikon execs said as much recently, increasing their focus on high margin products. I tend to agree, John. That's what we were just. That's what I was talking about. And bifocalated, bifocalated. No, bi would be the U. Anyways, um, he. I think you're saying that it would be divided in two. We went over this before because I think you sent that same word before, and I dissected it by root and stuff. But I've been out in the sun all day, John. It's got this terrible sunburn. So my brain isn't working as well. But basically divided into two, essentially. TJ says, I shoot the R5. I just need something smaller and lighter for travel and to carry around for less serious pictures. Then that is better than a phone. Yeah. See, I think pictures on a phone are with the RAW. I don't know. I think I've seen some incredible pictures out of a phone. Um, Not necessarily low light, but I mean, the video of the phone really is what hurts it in my mind because you definitely get a weird shutter thing. You can't really control the shutter speed well on a phone. And you also get a really flat image because of the way that they set up just the focal length. And the over sharpening is bad. So I guess my point is to say that I think the photo side of a camera or iPhone or whatever, a smartphone, has more potential so far than the video. Not to say you're not right that a dedicated camera can be better. What is your ideas on point and shoot? I feel like I've gotten some good footage out of this thing. I haven't used it in a long time. Probably should, but I don't know. I get really particular. I just need to go out and shoot more. I have a 1-year-old and everything. It's not an excuse. You can always do more, but I'm just trying to get very proficient with the A7S III. So I just tend to take it out. And with, man, this lens is nuts. This Tamron 18 to 27, it's just so small, or 28. I mean, it's really light thing. With the A7S III, it's really not a big deal. It's not too intrusive. It's really the shotgun mic is the issue. If I had I wish cameras would have a better onboard mic. That would be great. I think that should be a good step that people actually work on because these cameras have better on thing mics, and you know it doesn't have to be as good as a shotgun mic, but very usable. Uh, uh, if it was very usable mic, I think that would go a long way to making all these cameras better because I hate the look of a shotgun mic. Because you have a shotgun mic, I mean, I use it, but I mean, I think that draws so much attention to yourself. But if you, I mean, this camera actually has a pretty good onboard mic. But if you had that in some of the cameras, like they don't even pay attention to it in my mind. They don't really care about it. I think they know of what it is for scratch audio. But I think if they did pay attention to it a little bit better, put you a wind muff on it, like some of these point and shoots, I think that would be great because you could get great quality video and really decent audio for vlogs and stuff of that nature and travel. I think that would be a good idea. I don't know. What do y'all think? Do you think these cameras need better onboard mics? I am down for it. Let's start asking for it. Let's demand things. Buy fur K Ted means 2 sets of rules. I learned that from golf a few years ago. Repurposed, purpose separate club design rules for amateur versus pro golfers. That never happened. By the way, what never happened? You never sent that word in before? Yeah, you sent some words similar to that because I had to break it down. I remember. Because I remember you saying you were just trying to throw me for a loop on the live stream. I remember these things. John says, I hate shotgun mics. Rode Wireless Go is much better for vlogging, in my opinion. I'm losing lights. Did you notice that? It probably is. But then again, I just don't like that showing up on my camera. I don't know. And it doesn't have as high a quality in my mind as a shotgun mic, but maybe I just need to bite the bullet. Maybe it is better and I'm biased because I've never used it. I've heard the DJI version of the Wireless Go. Let's basically say what it is. I've heard that that's actually better from most reviewers than the Rode Wireless. I really enjoyed this mic here. It's really good. And I just got this mic. I don't know if y'all can tell the difference. Let's see. My most recent videos, I've been using this pen mic. I really do think it makes a difference as far as quality goes when you're in the studio. I personally think it does. It because I'm going digital and it's an XLR microphone going digital through the Sony, and I had the thing that just came with this, but I love this mic. And from listening to everything, I don't know. I just feel like it makes everything better quality. I hope y'all have noticed, or not necessarily noticed, but just essentially, I think if you look over things eventually, over time, like you go back, 3 or 4 or 5, 6 months ago, then you have an issue. Things are better. I'm not using it right now. I'm using a USB-C mic. Sorry, enough about microphones. Okay, so no, golf did not make separate rules for pro golfers versus amateur. Point is, the camera market is becoming bifurcated between phone users and more high-end cameras. Oh, okay. I got what you're saying. I kind of get what you're saying. John, you're so above my head. That's why you make the big bucks. And you're a golfer. I mean, that means you're automatically that sets you above like a whole nother class. No, I appreciate you, John, and I'm glad that you've had good success over the years. That's a very admirable thing. We can all use your wisdom in life. Good stuff, and I mean that non-facetiously. Let's go here again. Any other stories you want to pick up, or do we want to kind of wrap this thing up? I've been going for a little over an hour here. I appreciate everybody. I'm here for you guys tonight, so if y'all want to keep talking, we can. But I don't want to start rambling on to the fact, to the extent that people get bored of me. So it's up to you guys. I am here if we want to keep talking. If you have another subject matter, we can. If y'all want to wrap it up for tonight, we can. I am here for your entertainment. John says, I picked the 2 most expensive hobbies possibly. My golf game sucks, by the way. Whose golf game doesn't suck? I'm not a golfer, but I've hit a few good balls. Doesn't sound right. Long Rider said, peace. Hi, John. Hey, Long Rider, you're here. I do want to talk to you about this R7 situation. Just really quick, and then we might can start wrapping things down. I've been going for a while. But John, Long Rider's here now, so we can have some really fun debates. So, Long Rider, what do you think about this R7? Do you agree with me that, I mean, there's really nothing saying that it's not BSI. It's just not confirming that it is BSI. But do you agree that even if it's not BSI and they just have a fast enough processor, kind of like they do with the A7S III and the R6, that it will do fine? That it will do fine in the sense of the rolling shutter. And if that is the case, John Long Rider, would Would you be interested in it, or do you think you're so committed to Sony that you would not go dual cameras? TJ says, John, I hate that about the camera industry. I think there's a lot of money on the low end with how successful Rebel series was for Canon. But I do think the key thing is was. And I don't know. It's a different era. And I mean, we got to look at the overall sales numbers. And numbers, they're hard to lie here. And I think as the market shrinks, can't like what John was saying, and like Nikon said, like he repeated, is that they have to kind of go for more of an approach of a make more off of individual cameras, even if they charge you more and have more high end stuff. Because I mean, one thing like I saw this cage one time. It was nuts. It was an underwater cage for some camera. I can't even remember, but I just remember it was like some stupid number. It was like $3,000 or $4,000 for a plastic bullshit underwater rig. And I'm thinking, why the hell would something like that be charged for an underwater rig of a camera? It's just plastic. This can't cost them more than $50 to manufacture at most. But I also thought, well, how small of a market is this going after? How many people are really going to buy this plastic thing? So for them to develop it, it's very specific for a specific camera. It's for a specific task. So how many are going to sell? You have to make a lot to even make your business make sense. You have to make it charge a lot. They might be getting 2,000% or whatever, let's say 1,000% markup on it, but they might only sell 100. So in order to have a business, that is what happens. And I think that's what the camera industry is doing. Longray says, specs look great. They do look great. Is Canon tempting you, Long Rider? Are you going to betray your first love of Sony or your current love? Brian says, hi, Matt. I just bought the R7C for prime lenses. What do you think about the G lenses, 24, 40, and 50 millimeter? Huh. The G lenses or GM lenses? I'm guessing G lenses, G series. I don't want to pretend that I've used those lenses. I do know that usually those 50s, what they call the nifty 50s, they usually work good at the range that they are. So I will give you on that. I think that the nifty 50s are usually pretty good, no matter the manufacturer, or at least with Canon and Sony. So I'm guessing that's a good one. But hey, if you know more about these primes than I do, Long Rider or anybody who's a bigger Sony guy, maybe help out Brian. That'd be great. John says, tend to agree. Canon actually made most of their money from M camera in recent years, but maybe not enough margin to make sustaining 2 ounce sustainable. Yes. TJ says, agreed, which is why I have faith with the RF system using the same mount for both full frame and crop sensors like Sony. Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, it's a shrinking market, guys. I'm not saying it's going away, but it's evolving. We don't know where the bottom's at exactly. So I'm hoping we found the bottom, and I hope we bounce back to higher things. But it is what it is. It's becoming bifurcated, as John would say. Long Ride, are you going to answer the R7 question? Are you going to get the R7? If it's as good as the spec sheet and doesn't have rolling shutter? Or are you saying, F that, I got the A9 with my super special lenses, and I don't really need it. That's all good too. I just wonder. I'm just trying to tempt you over to the dual performance thing. Longer says, for me, I have 2 concerns for wildlife: readout speed, how high pixel density performs. There were some complaints from the 90 users, same res. Yeah. So if it's BSI, that will help with the noise, I would assume, with low light, even though it's pixel density. The readout speed is a big deal, but I think again, if it's stacked, that is a pretty good answer already. But if not, the faster processor could mitigate that complaint. I guess my hypothetical long rider is if it comes out and rolling shutter isn't an issue and it has a decent low light, where are you at in your leadings? I mean, I know these are hypotheticals, but I want a hypothetical make you cheat on Sony. I like Sony. I have a Sony. That's my primary, but I just like bugging people. John says, TJ, yes, but that's for a different reasons. Sony started mirrorless for a crop mount and built a full frame system around it later. Imagine if a Canon used the EFM mount for all their later FF development. Yeah, I don't think they're going to go with the EFM mount. I mean, I get kind of what you're saying, John. But I don't think, and maybe I'm misinterpreting, but I do think that the RFS is kind of going to be a little bit different. Meaning that I think it's definitely going to be higher quality than the EFM mount as far as lenses development goes. And so maybe that's not even your issue. Maybe you're just saying that Sony APS-C glass is fairly inferior, which it is compared to their full frame glass. Longrider says the 90D issue had something to do with Canon non-approved glass. Okay, so yeah. So the RFS glass might not have that issue. Longrider says I could switch from Sony tomorrow. Really could care less. I kid around, but Sony don't put food on my table. Dang. Wow. No, just kidding. I'm glad. I like okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I think I got it, John. I mean, I knew you were referring to TJ. I guess my point was they're doing it for a different reason, but I think it's because of the same results that Sony has got. And also for the shrinking market, like we were saying, dividing their amount at this point is even if they're doing it for a different reason, I think it's a smart decision. And I'm guessing you agree. I'm not sure. Wow, Long Rider. I mean, I like a little bit of the tension you bring with Sony. I definitely do. I definitely do. But I'm glad to hear that you're not very dogmatic in reality. I think that that's a good thing not to be. And that's why I chose the Sony A7S III, and I have the Canon EOS R behind me. And I'm not selling that 15 to 35 f2 with IBIS from the RF. I mean, that's the best lens I've ever had. Most expensive lens I've ever had. I'm not selling it because one day I might want to go back to Canon primarily and use my A7S III as my secondary or whatever. The bad thing is I shoot log, and it's not a bad thing necessarily, but I've not been able to match them up very good. TJ said, yes, Matt, that was my point. I know Sony started off only with crop sensor cameras, but the result is amazing with options that their users have for lenses. I agree. John says, Long Rider, not sure what you mean about non-approved glass. You mean third-party, example, Sigma and Tamron. Yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't aware of that story. I'm not saying you're right, or I'm guessing, or I'm not saying you're wrong. But yeah, Canon has an issue with non-third-party lenses. They just do because they're not opening their mount up, which sucks. But they probably won't because they make the most money off their RF lenses. And to their credit, their RF lenses are dope. They're just expensive as you know what up. TJ says, hopefully the RF/RFS lenses use the same RF mount. Yeah, I think they will. I don't think that's if it doesn't, I would be extremely disappointed. I don't think that's the case. That's like the least worrisome thing on my list of worries about the I mean, I'm not really worried because it's not going to affect me, but it affects you guys, so that matters to me. I want the people that follow these cameras to get the camera that they want, and um, that they're paying attention to and giving their time to. Hopefully the RF, like I said, they'll have the same one. John said yes, same mount, different lenses designed for smaller little circle. Yeah, I more than agree. I think we can all rest easy that is gonna be the case. Man, I gotta say one camera that tempts me so bad, is the Canon R5C. For me, who is a primarily video guy, man, some of the features in there I love, and it aggravates me tremendously. I don't want to go on a tangent about Sony, but like put in some damn waveforms, some false colors, some professional video features, considering you're touting the A7S III and the FX3 as cinema style-ish cameras, and Panasonic and now Canon have all these great video features, and you are falling behind. And even more so, don't put something in the A7R4 like animal eye video and bring it down to, I think the what was it, the 10, the E10, or the whatever it was, the little bitty point and shoot cameras, and don't bring it up to your A7S III and your A1. Get with the program and give us some good firmware options, Sony, if you want to stay in the camera game. If you don't, let us know so I can go to Canon. Long Rider says, no, John, there was an issue with the Canon non-L glass that would not handle the tight pixel pitch. Canon released a list of improved lenses for the 90D. Well, if they're already improving it with the 90D, then I think the RF system will not have that problem. My thoughts. Because it sounds like they learned from their mistakes. Sorry about the Sony tangent, but it gets under my skin. And the screens, come on. Have you seen their phone? It has a 4K OLED screen on their new phones. Like, they have like the best screens, like kind of. Not the brightest, but OLED? Are you kidding? Stop with the stupid ass screens. Sorry. I mean, they can't fix my camera with that, but they can give me some firmware. Add some RAW. Come on, man. Give it the program. Sorry, I know you are talking Canon. I'm ranting about Sony. I've been up early today and yesterday, and I was out baking in the sun all day today, sealing a deck for some extra money for my trip. And so, yeah, sorry if I'm getting delusional. Longray says, it sounds similar with putting non-L glass on an R5. The better the sensor, the more it will show a lesser lens's image quality issues. Yeah, I've heard a lot about that. I haven't experienced it, but I don't have the R5. One thing I'll say that I love about Sony is their third-party glass. Like, the Tamron is sharp, sometimes a little too sharp. Maybe that's a weird thing to say, but I mean, it's good and it's cheap, but it's good. And Sigma, the same thing. My Sigma, way cheaper than Sony. They're 24-70, even the new one, way cheaper, but it's plenty sharp. DJ says, Matt, please go off on Sony. LOL, let it all out. Yeah. Longer said, yes, I had the same issues with 200-600. It's listed by Sony as partially compatible with the A7R4 I used to own. Um, Thank you, TJ, for letting me fit here. John says, "Are we keeping you up, Matt?" LOL. No, not really. I will be going and staying awake. So Saturdays are really my only days. I'm going to be staying awake. I think, hopefully. I just letting you know why I'm maybe a little lower energy. But Saturdays, oh gosh, stop yawning. Saturdays are the days that I kind of at night get some time to myself, and I play games with my cousins. So we go and get on the Xboxes, get on the Xbox and chat over Xbox Live. Kind of keeps me in touch with my friends because life, we don't see each other that often. But most of the time during the week, I don't play any kind of games or anything like that. I mean, a little bit, very rarely. And Saturday night rather is the day I watch my son's Friday or much my son alone. My wife works Friday, Saturdays. I watch him all day usually, and the rest of the week I need to be doing other stuff and working and preparing for my trip and doing stuff with this channel and things like that. So Saturday nights are the nights that I get to kind of like play. That's the kind of the agreement. Uh, but I'm fine talking cameras, so you're not really keeping me up. That's fun for me too. Lumber says nice haircut. Did you attend Justin Bieber concert? I didn't know. Does he have a haircut like this? I really didn't know. I went to there's some it's a really cool barbershop. I've not been to the barbershop before this last time in like 3 years. Like I think pre corona or whatever. My wife just started cutting my hair. And then it was like, why waste the money? But the other day I was driving by the barbershop. I was like, man, I miss that place. And so I went in. It's a bunch of their it's called Lewis Haircut or Lewis Barbershop or something like that. It's ran by some um, I guess they're Hispanic or Latino. I'm not sure what the proper acronym is, but they're in general they're great at their craft and what they're doing. And I love that spa. I love the energy, or not spa. I love that barbershop, and I love the energy. And they do a good job, I think. And so I went in and let them do the stuff. They have straight, and I actually got a shave. It was the first time. It was nice. I enjoyed myself. Uh, but then I got a terrible sunburn from doing the deck with my shaved head. Um, I think Justin Bieber mostly copies me. First off, I think he follows me on Instagram, even though I don't really post on there, which is awkward that he would do such a thing. Dude, I'm down to 3 people because I've just been ranting. Sorry, I've just been. Oh, okay. Anyways, sorry guys if I'm not entertaining right now. I'm enjoying talking to you all. I hope y'all appreciate that. I hope you enjoy talking to me and just building community here. So not every video, not everything is going to be building a huge channel, but I like to communicate with you guys when I get an opportunity. And sometimes I've been bad about not getting to everybody's comments, and I really wish I was better and hope to be better. Um, so having times like this to chat with the community, I much appreciate it because I appreciate you guys commenting on my videos. And I do want to hear y'all's opinions, and it helps out the videos. But sometimes I don't get to comment back right away, or it takes me a while, and I need to do better. But yeah. Long Rider sent me a super chat. That's awesome, man. Thank you so much. You don't have to do that, but I very much appreciate it. And it helps. It does. It really does. So thank you, Long Rider. I really appreciate that. I'm trying to get better about monetizing this stuff because YouTube only pays so much, and not necessarily monetizing from you all, but I want to do affiliate links. Like, why haven't I done that yet? Because I'm sure a lot of people are going to be buying cameras anyways. So I think a lot of people wouldn't mind buying it through my affiliate links, which would help me out tremendously. especially when I'm in Vietnam, which could be for a long time. I'm not putting that out there because I don't know for sure, but it's like could be a while that we're there creating content for this channel, but also for a travel channel. And it'll help if I have a pretty sustainable or a pretty good income coming from YouTube, so I can not go broke over there and end up on the streets holding a cup in Vietnam because I can't speak the language properly. I'm just kidding. It's not going to happen, but I mean, it could. You never know. That's why super chats. Wow. Okay, guys, I'm getting delusional here. I think y'all can tell. My energy's going down. I enjoy talking, but I think it is time for me to call it a night. I appreciate you all for showing up. Appreciate you for your support, and yeah, I hope you've enjoyed yourself. I'm sorry if I got really low energy and kind of tangents for a while, but I think we enjoyed ourselves. I enjoyed communicating with all of you. Thank you for showing up. Until next time, peace. Peace.